Hi teachers, my name's DJ West. I'm the National Professional Learning Director at McGraw-Hill Education. And we at McGraw-Hill just want to take a few minutes to remind you of some of the resources you have both in Glencoe Health and in Glencoe Teen Health that you can use if you're teaching in a virtual situation. So we're going to look at a couple things today. The first thing we're going to look at is the resources, both digital and print, that you have available to you. And then secondly, we want to look at how to use these in a virtual situation, whether it's print or digital. So some of the assignment features, those kinds of things that you can use to support that. So I'm going to start out. You would go into your material, and I'm going to use Glencoe Teen Health. For my Glencoe Health teachers, just remember, the design is just a little bit different, but all the functionality is exactly the same, and the setup is pretty much the same. Across the top, you have your different tabs that are going to get you into the materials. We're going to be specifically interested in lesson plans, manage, assign, resources, project center. We're also going to look at the notes up here, and then here is your student edition. Remember, the student edition is really one of the best resources that you can use right now if you're able to do it in a digital format. Right up at the top, you actually have then all of your chapters. I'm going to go down to, let's say, conflict resolution. And across the top, lesson 1, 2, 3, 4, and then my chapter review right here. You're going to notice there are boxes inside of the text. And if I scroll down, these boxes can be completed by your students digitally. You're going to notice that every one of these, it says save. That just means you haven't assigned it out and a student can save their work. But if you assign it, it will actually say submit, and students can submit that assignment back in. As I scroll down to the bottom of the page, you're going to notice this lesson covers multiple pages, and there's also a Spanish pop-out down at the bottom that you're able to use. So that's there. When I'm in the lesson, you're going to see some resources in the side tray. These are the resources that go specifically with this page, like the eSpotlight video. Across the top, you're going to have all of the resources that belong to this lesson. And then as a student goes page by page, the resources in the tray will change by the tray. Now the eSpotlight videos can be assigned out in the lesson book, or they can be assigned out independently.
The whole purpose of this project is to hold a mirror to society, to show us who we really are. And like any mirror, this one shows us warts and all.
Spring.
Come on in, sit down.
You usually say it like it is.
Yeah, I do. I tell it like it is. And it's not really good to do it either. You can make enemies that way too.
Her name is Geraldine Spring, and she's quite an open book.
And that's my grandson, Travis, my favorite.
But she does have one thing to hide. It's a picture you won't find on display here. A picture of this granddaughter's husband. A picture that embarrasses Geraldine so much, she keeps it buried in a drawer.
There's a picture of them too, see? I couldn't find.
So just remember, your students have access to these in the ebook itself, but then you could also assign them out separately if you desired to do so. So the ebook has all of that material. If I go to the second lesson, you're going to see those resources change out depending on what the lesson is. Some are interactive, some are images, and so on. But the ebook is a great feature. Students can go in and annotate that ebook. If they needed to print it out, they could actually do that. You've got your vocabulary listed here for them, but it's a great resource to use during this time, either for students to investigate on their own or you as a teacher to support out to them. You're going to notice the study organizer, if I bring that up, if I click on it, can actually be completed digitally. And then all of the resources in both Teen Health and Glencoe Health are PDF forms that students can do digitally or print out and do paper pencil. So one of the big pieces are those materials right in the student edition. If you wanted to assign the student edition out, I would go to Manage and Assign, and I would say Make an Assignment. In that assignment, I might call it Chapter 2. I would give whatever instructions I wanted to. I would set my date ranges and my expiration date. I would go down and check all of the students that I want to get that assignment. And then I would go to Edit. And at Edit right here, one of the options you're going to see is the Student Edition. So if I click on Student Edition, I could pick out, you know what, I want to go to Conflict Resolution. I want Lesson 1. I want to add that. And then scroll down a little bit and say Done. And now I'm going to go up and say Assign. And if you have multiple classes, you can actually go in here and say view assignment details, and then you can copy this over to other classes right here. Okay, so that's how you would assign the ebook out. I would just go up here, manage and assign, click on assignments. Okay, I would click make an assignment, and then when the assignment form comes up, go down to edit, and then right here you can add the student notebook or the student edition, and that's any lesson. If you do that, then when they submit it, you'll see all of the answers they typed into that lesson. The other thing I'm just going to point out similar while I'm here is my notebook. My notebook could be assigned out as well. And let me show you my notebook. Right at the top here, you're going to see my notes. If I click on this, this is simply a reading guide that goes along with every single lesson. Here, Chapter 7 on conflict resolution, Lesson 2, I've got a blank slate that this could be assigned out, or if you wanted students to do it, you have your guided notes right here that gives them an idea of what they're looking for as they fill that out. Students can do it on their own, but if you assign it from that assignment tab, okay, if I go to manage and assign, make an assignment, and then I go to edit, my notebook is right there. And you're going to see right here, it's guided notes, and I can pick what chapter I want that for, and then add that to my assignment. So two of the things we looked at, that student book and then the my notes and signing out the student book. Now let's go a couple other places. One of the places I want to show you is lesson plans. And if you're scrolling down through here in a lesson plan, let's pick a chapter. We're going to go to conflict resolution where we've been. I'm going to look at lesson 1 and click on it. So as a teacher, I'm going to tell you this could be a really helpful resource, both for print resources and for digital resources. So if I look here at the focus, this is the opening of the lesson. And if I scroll down here, you have your material here, but the important thing for you is you have these resources that are in the side panel right here. So if I scroll down and look at some of these, some of the things you're going to see, I have my inventory activity. That's just a little PDF or a document. But if I click on tools right here, you're going to see I can assign this resource out to my students. I could open it and print it, or I can share it directly in Google Classroom. And you can link your Google Classroom and your students to this and actually have the material go back and forth that way. But you're going to notice if I just want to assign out the eSpotlight video right here, I can click on it, assign it out, or share it in Google Classroom. So you're going to notice a number of resources. That's in the focus. If I click down into Teach, you're going to notice a whole series of resources. You click through here, you can read this out, the lesson plan piece, but you're going to notice concept mapping, guided reading activity, decision-making activity. Okay, some of these, like if you look at the decision-making activity, this is a support piece that any student could use. You don't have to have them go in and read the book. It actually is a decision-making activity in handling conflicts at home. So if you have to do a packet format where you send the PDFs out, this is a great one to do. Again, I had mentioned all of these you can click in and students can actually type right in them. They do have to download them first, okay? And then they could upload that back or email it back to you through Google Classroom. There are some slight differences for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, so feel free. Some of the resources are going to be duplicated. You can go down and look at these, but there will be some difference in your teacher notes that are available for you. One of the big suggestions I have for you, go into a chapter, open a lesson up, look at all of these resources so you can see the ones that best fit how you're going to have to do it, whether it's virtual or whether it's a print paper packet to allow you to do that. Okay. Many of these, though, don't require the students having access to the student book. You just need to take a look at them, and then the down at the bottom is the assess piece, and I'm going to scroll up on this. Here's my lesson quiz, and so you've got a variety of resources that are going to be down there as well. And then finally, up at the top again in my focus, if you scroll down here, there is a created PowerPoint that goes along with this that your students could use to review that material. So you can go right in resources and pull those material out from the lesson plans. The other way you can look at those materials is you can go to the tab that says resources right here. Okay. If I look at these resources, I can go through, I could do a keyword search on these. I could look at the type of activities I want, audio, image, interactive, video, and so on. If I want to look at the foldables, I mean, if I want to look at my worksheets, I can do that. So you're able to go in. These are just the graphic organizers, but I'm able then to go in and look at any of those resources that I want to support the material. There's going to be no shortage of interaction or materials that you could use. You're going to notice here almost 4,000 Blackline Masters. The other way I can do it in the resources is right here by the different types of activities that I want to do. That's part of what I'm working on. So do I want to look at the supplemental activities and see what's available here? So these are some personal health, some techno projects. If I want to go up here and look at the hands-on health pieces, by the way, these hands-on health are fantastic. There's a video piece that goes along with it, but then also an activity worksheet that the students would go through. These are one of the pieces you can look at. So I can get to those from the lesson plan or from the resources. You remember, if I go through this and I wanted to do it, I click on Tools, and right here, this is a downloadable one. I could go to Tools, and this one I can assign directly out. I'll have to check on this. This must be the teacher guide that goes along with that activity, because normally you would be available to assign that piece out. Okay, so for right now, you may have to download it and then just put it in My Files and assign it out, or assign it out through Google Classroom. Only for this specific type, though. Let me go into the Project Center, but before I do that, really, if you're in the lesson plans here and you're in a lesson, when you go into any part of the lesson, if there was something of this that you did want to assign out, like the concept map, when I click on that and it says Assign, I click on Assign. This is where your box is going to come up. You give it a name, but you're going to notice, just like what we were looking for with the student edition, the resource is already attached right here. Okay, so you can actually assign that out. Your students will see it on their home page. They can click that open, go in, open it up, do the work, and then return it in a way you designate for them, either through ConnectEd or through your portal if you're Google Classroom or some other portal of that nature. If I go into the Project Center, there's a whole series of projects that I could use with my students as well. And then in Fitness Zone, you have a variety of resources that go along. These clipboard energizer activity cards, again, you click on Tools, you can actually go into the resource. These are available for you to use with your students as well. So just really quickly, if we review for a minute, within the materials, first of all, you have that student edition, which is one of your most useful pieces to use virtually. Then as you go along through the resources or through the lesson plans and the Project Center, you have a variety of these resources that can be assigned out to your students and used. You also have some materials in Fitness Zone, and then lastly you have the Manage and Assign. Now I want to click back into this and just show you one more thing. We've seen how to make an assignment and to set all the dates. If you want to look at assignment though, once it's done, you can actually go back to Manage and Assign. You can pick the class, and then you can look at the details of the assignment. It will actually show you whose it's been sent out to, if they've submitted it, if it's a file they needed to upload, if it's there, to click on it, and then you can comment back on that work. But it allows you to take a look at that. If you want to do an assessment, if you click on Assess, you're going to find e-assessment. All of your assessments, again, can be sent out digitally and then can be automatically graded on those objective questions, and then you can look at the others if this is something you decide to do during virtual teaching. So the biggest thing I want to point out here from the home page is this. I have a wealth of resources that are built in, already accessible for my students, and then all of the resources can be assigned out, whether it's the SE, the notes, or whether it's the resources both in the lesson plans and the resource. And then you can do that two ways. You can do it virtually, or you can use the resources built in the program to do it as a packet format to be able to do for students that don't have internet access at home. So many of those resources, remember, don't need the book because the data they need to work with it is built right into the Blackline Master that's available for you to email. Okay, guys, thanks so much. If you have questions, please visit us. Please reach out to us. We'd love to be able to support you in any way that we can. Thanks.